Imagine waking up one morning, opening your window, and seeing your neighbor dancing in the middle of the street. At first, it seems strange. Maybe she's celebrating something. Maybe she's drunk. Maybe she's simply enjoying the warm summer day. But then hours pass, and she doesn't stop. The sun begins to set. She's still dancing. Her feet are bleeding. Her face is pale. Her body is trembling from exhaustion. Yet somehow, she keeps moving. The next day, she's still dancing. Then another person joins her. Then another. Then another. Within days, dozens of people are dancing through the streets. Within weeks, hundreds are trapped in a nightmare they cannot escape. Some collapse from exhaustion. Some suffer strokes. Some reportedly dance until their hearts give out. And nobody knows why. No virus. No war. No invasion. No visible enemy. Just ordinary people, dancing themselves toward death. This sounds like something from a horror movie. But it happened, and more than 500 years later, historians still cannot fully explain what caused one of the strangest events in human history. This is the unbelievable story of the Dancing Plague of 1518. Chapter 1. A City on the Edge. To understand this mystery, we need to travel back to the summer of 1518, the city of Strasbourg. Today, Strasbourg is a beautiful city in France, but in 1518 it was part of the Holy Roman Empire. Life here was hard, very hard. Most people lived close to starvation. Food shortages were common. Disease spread easily. Medical knowledge was primitive. A simple infection could become a death sentence. Families worked from sunrise to sunset, simply to survive. There were no hospitals as we know them today. No antibiotics, no understanding of psychology, no explanation for many illnesses. When something strange happened, people often blamed supernatural forces, demons, curses, divine punishment, and the people of Strasbourg had plenty of reasons to feel afraid. Years of famine had devastated the region. Crop failures left many hungry. Disease outbreaks had killed thousands. The population lived under constant pressure. Every day felt uncertain. Every day felt dangerous. Nobody knew it yet. But that pressure was about to explode in the most bizarre way imaginable. Chapter 2. The Woman Who Wouldn't Stop Dancing. It began with one woman. Her name was Frau Trophäa. On a hot July day in 1518, she stepped into the street. Without warning, she started dancing. No musicians, no festival, no celebration, no apparent reason, just dancing. At first, people ignored her. Strange behavior wasn't entirely unheard of. But as the hours passed, something became unsettling. She wasn't stopping. Her movements became frantic, wild, uncontrolled. Witnesses watched as she continued dancing throughout the day, then through the night. Imagine the scene. The streets growing dark, families returning home, candles flickering in windows, and one lone woman, still dancing. The next morning, she was still there, exhausted, sweating, barely able to stand, yet somehow still moving. People gathered around her. Some laughed, some mocked her, others became frightened. Nobody could understand what they were seeing. And then things became even stranger. Others began dancing too. Chapter 3. The Outbreak. At first, it was just a handful of people. 5, 10, 20. But the number continued growing. Each day, new dancers appeared. Many claimed they couldn't control themselves. Some cried while dancing. Some begged for help. Others screamed in pain. Yet their feet continued moving. The city was witnessing something completely unprecedented. Within weeks, the streets became filled with dancers. Historical records suggest that as many as 400 people may have been affected. Imagine walking through Strasbourg during those days. Everywhere you look, people spinning, jumping, staggering, collapsing, then getting back up and dancing again. Children watched in terror. Families desperately tried to restrain loved ones. Some tied dancers to beds. Others locked them inside houses. But many continued moving regardless. The city descended into chaos. Nobody knew whether the phenomenon was contagious. Nobody knew whether it would spread further. Most frightening of all, nobody knew how to stop it. Chapter 4. The authorities make a terrible decision. City leaders faced enormous pressure. People demanded answers. Doctors were called. Religious leaders were consulted. Officials desperately searched for a solution. The physicians of Strasbourg eventually reached a conclusion. According to medical beliefs at the time, the dancers suffered from overheated blood. Their bodies supposedly needed to release excess energy. And so authorities made a decision that would become infamous. Instead of preventing dancing, they encouraged it. They built wooden stages. They hired musicians. They organized public spaces specifically for dancing. Think about that for a moment. Hundreds of people were collapsing from exhaustion. And the official response was, more dancing. The logic seemed reasonable to 16th century doctors. If dancing caused relief, then more dancing should cure the condition. Instead, everything got worse. The music attracted larger crowds. The spectacle encouraged participation, and the outbreak intensified. What began as a mystery was quickly becoming a catastrophe. Chapter 5. Dancing toward death. Now imagine the physical reality. Try standing up and dancing continuously for just 1 hour. Most people would be exhausted. Now imagine dancing for 10 hours, 20 hours, several days. The human body simply isn't designed for that. Historical accounts describe horrifying consequences: swollen feet, torn muscles, extreme dehydration, heart failure, exhaustion so severe that victims collapsed unconscious. Some reports claim people died from strokes and heart attacks. Although exact numbers remain uncertain, there is little doubt that many suffered tremendously. The city was trapped inside a waking nightmare. Families watched helplessly as loved ones deteriorated. Doctors had no cure. Authorities had no answers. Fear spread faster than the dancing itself. Every morning, residents wondered, would they be next? Chapter 6. The Curse of St. Vitus. As the crisis worsened, people turned toward religion. Many believed the dancers had been cursed. A popular explanation involved St. Vitus. According to local beliefs, St. Vitus possessed the power to punish sinners with uncontrollable dancing. To modern ears, this sounds strange. But in 1518, it made sense. When science failed, faith filled the gap. Authorities eventually abandoned their earlier strategy. The dancers were transported to a shrine associated with St. Vitus. There, priests performed rituals. Special shoes were placed on victims. Prayers echoed through sacred halls. And something remarkable happened. Gradually, the dancing stopped. One by one, the victims recovered. The plague slowly disappeared, as suddenly as it had arrived. Chapter 7. What really happened? 500 years later, the mystery remains unsolved. Historians have proposed several theories. One theory suggests poisoning. A fungus called ergot can grow on rye grain. It contains chemicals capable of causing hallucinations. Some researchers wondered whether contaminated bread triggered the outbreak. But there is a problem. Ergot poisoning typically causes severe physical symptoms that don't match many historical descriptions. Another explanation points toward mass psychogenic illness, sometimes called mass hysteria. This phenomenon occurs when stress and fear manifest as physical symptoms. And remember the world these people lived in: famine, disease, religious anxiety, poverty, constant uncertainty. The psychological burden was enormous. Could hundreds of terrified people have unconsciously influenced one another? Many historians believe this is the most likely explanation. Yet even this theory leaves unanswered questions. How exactly did it spread? Why did it affect so many people? Why has nothing quite like it happened on the same scale since? the truth remains elusive. Conclusion. History often focuses on emperors, wars, conquests, great inventions, but sometimes the most fascinating stories are the ones that defy explanation. In the summer of 1518, an ordinary city became the stage for an extraordinary mystery. Hundreds danced, many suffered, an entire population watched in horror. And even today, no one knows exactly why. Perhaps the dancing plague was a medical phenomenon. Perhaps it was psychological. Perhaps it was a combination of factors we still don't fully understand. What makes the story unforgettable isn't just the dancing, it's the uncertainty. The realization that even in our modern age, some chapters of history still refuse to reveal their secrets, and somewhere in the records of the past, the people of Strasbourg continue to dance, frozen in time, waiting for an answer that may never come. If you enjoyed this documentary, subscribe for more forgotten mysteries.